supposed to be a beautiful moment is going to be one of the worst days of your life. However, it is going to be one of the greatest blessings in your life as well. When this video started circulating the internet, people were happy. And so was I. But boy, were we fooled by this guy. He played in not only our faces, but in the face of the person he claimed to love. Full disclaimer before we get started, this video is based on publicly available information, direct social media, as well as commentary. It is intended for critical analysis, opinion, as well as educational purposes under fair use. Without wasting any more of your time, let's get into this mess. The lipstick is not the red that I wanted, but trust when I tell you, it gets the message across, if the dress didn't already. I'm not wearing this for show. Ladies, let this be a cautionary tale. If you see the red flags, run for the hills. This lady got proposed to. What was meant to be such a loving moment is also a moment when we ought to sit and thank social media. Because although social media has its bad, it also has its good. And the good in this is not the dang proposal. It's all the other women that saw this viral video that had experience with this guy and outed him before this lady would have fell under his evilness, for lack of a better word. Now, after seeing this video, hearting it and saving it, I continued on my way, minding everybody's business but myself, and then I landed on PK Mackery, who had a comment about this proposal.
Hey yo, I'm here to tell you, if you saw that viral video of that light-skinned, them fake dreads proposing to his lady at the Tyler the Creator concert in Atlanta, yeah, that still married. He been married for years. If anybody know that lady that he's proposing to, let her know to run. This is a scammer, is a thief, this is a lie. You know how I know? I used to be friends with this nigga, but I found out who he really was when we stopped being friends. I know 3 of his ladies because we were friends for so long. Please, if you know that lady in Atlanta, Georgia, tell her to run. This is what he does. He is literally the black Tinder Swindler. So, yeah.
All you had to tell me, no offense to all of y'all that live here, is Atlanta. It ain't Atlanta, it is Scam-lanta. Ladies, if you see this man, make sure you stay far away from him. Oh, and also if you're new here and you already seated watching this and you have a pet, please get up and let your pet pick where it wants to sit first. Now, after seeing this, I was like, you know what? Let me just go deeper into this entire mess. Now, I haven't watched any of the story times from the ladies that have been with this guy, but I know there is one lady who had a lot of history with this guy, and her clips will show just that. So we're gonna start with her. Her name is Millie. She had a part 1, and even now as I'm speaking, she's probably dropping another video about this man.
I know the man in this video. When I met him, he told me his name was Caleb. 2.5 years later, I find out that he has at least 6 kids by many different women, and I ended up being number 7. This video is for the young woman who just got engaged, and I did try to warn her however I could, because at the time I didn't even know who she was. I'm so scared and worried about her. And someone warned me about him. I was 5 months pregnant. It was too much. He was talking to her while he was still with me. I know that for a fact.
Now, one thing about Millie, she did not come to play. Another thing I want to point out is she said she tried to reach out as best as she could to the other woman, and in the comment section, somebody that allegedly knows the woman has reached out, and her friends have reached out. They said her DMs are flooding and people are warning her about this guy. Now, I hope that she is safe. And another thing, these are real stories with real people. So if anything, this video is more of a warning. Before we get any deeper into the parts, the man in question, his name is Byron. People got a hold of his Instagram, can't find it anymore. However, he does have a website. Yes, a lot of people are saying this is the next Risa Tisa the Legion. Other people are saying this is what is his name? Derek Jackson. This is Byron. There are so many other Byrons out there. So ladies, please be careful. Now I found his website and it says A Journey Beyond Limits. Your transformation begins here. Are you ready to ascend? I'm not gonna lie, the website's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Recognize, reframe, release. You're not falling, you're ascending. Let go of the weight, rise into your highest self. Welcome to the Ascension Blueprint. And that is his face. Meet Byron. Byron is a worldwide top growth and transformation coach, certified neuro-linguistic programming, emotional intelligence practitioner, psychotherapist. You cannot make this crap up. He combines real-world grit from his experiences as a retired U.S. Marine with practical psychology and emotional mastery tools that deliver tangible results. Y'all get the freaking idea. One-on-one coaching, live workshops, Growth Seekers Academy. His mission is very clear. He is committed to helping his students and clients recognize, reframe, and release the mental and emotional blocks that keep them stuck so they can rise into the highest, most healed self. And his quote, "I don't just help you heal, I help you rise by rewiring your mind, healing your heart, and launching your legacy." Let's connect. Heck no. I'm not gonna lie, the astronaut's pretty cool though. Like, wee, woo. About, girl, ain't nobody. Essentially, he is a transformation coach, motivational speaker, psychotherapy, and psychotherapist, and the creator of the Ascension Blueprint. He is, oh my gosh, that looks like a movie trailer. And in this case, it just looks like a scam. Who is this for? You're ambitious, but you feel stuck. You've read the books and taken the courses, but nothing clicks. This is for high achievers, individuals in transition, career, love, identity, people ready to stop overthinking and start rising. Book your one-on-one. Heck no. We ain't booking. No. Let me see if his Instagram profile is not available. I wonder why, Byron. We're trying to get into your one-on-one program. So why is your Instagram not available? I just think that's funny. Oh, and he has a YouTube and a TikTok and a Facebook. He's more than a speaker. He's a movement. It's just creepier because I'm pretty sure he's the one that made this. Wait. He's been featured across major platforms like NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, and more. From coaching veterans to empowering educators and youth, his mission is simple: help people rise by rewiring their minds, healing their hearts, and launching their legacy. You just word vomit a bunch of the same things. He has testimonials. Byron is going to be one of the top motivational speakers and inspirers. Am I reading that?
From Byron's presentation is that it's okay to be that person that you needed to be when you were younger. A lot of things we struggle with now, we say.
Bro said struggle. What is she doing? Director of admissions?
Hi, I'm Miriam Margolis, Director of Admissions here at Geffen Academy at UCLA. I'm a founding member of the community, meaning I helped launch the school in 2016. Byron's session today was so special for our students. I don't think since our inception in 2016, we've had someone come to Geffen and speak in the way that he has to us.
I bet y'all haven't. Who's this?
I'm Carrie Blackstone. I'm a clinician here at Vista Del Mar High School. I work with our young people on some of their emotional needs. We were so happy to have Byron come and speak to them today.
Byron's making a lot of big moves. Big man.
My name is Steven Steenhook. I'm a 6th grade teacher, math and science. Byron's message really touched home with the trauma.
I met him December 7th, 2020 during COVID, app called We Plus. I'm curvy, so I was like, well, if I go on this app, like I for sure should meet someone that likes curvy women. So he ends up hitting me up, and I was a little hesitant at first because he just looked like, he was a pretty boy. Like he's 6'5", had like orange eyes, light skin, like not really my go-to because I prefer chocolate men. I didn't really entertain it, and then he ends up hitting me up again, and he's like 6'5", no ladder needed. I was like, on my roof of my house putting Christmas lights on the house. I thought that was cute. I was like, oh, that's a cute line, you know? And I was like, okay, well, you know, maybe I will entertain it. Because you know how they say, like, sometimes your person is not your go-to, like someone you would normally date. So I was like, well, I'm open because I really want to meet someone. Maybe like 4 months prior, I had written in my journal about exactly like the type of guy that I wanted. I was really like intentionally dating. We ended up like talking and we agreed to meet up. I'm really excited because I was like just praying. I was like, God, I just want to meet my person. Like, I'm ready to settle down, start a family. Like, I worked for myself, like I built it, you know, to a certain point. And I was like, okay, God, like I'm ready, like I have the time, like I'm ready to meet someone. So I had to go to Sonoma County because my friend had just gotten engaged. So we agreed to meet up when I was on my way back down since I had to pass through LA. I get over there and it was like at a like Starbucks. He ended up not showing up. So I'm thinking like, okay, like I couldn't get a hold of him, couldn't call him. I was like, well, maybe he got tied up at work or something happened. He ends up like apologizing and, you know, we're chit-chatting and we're still trying to like meet up. But again, it's like during COVID, so it's like hard to do that. So we also agreed that we needed both to get tested to make sure, you know, we were good to go for the safety of people like, you know, in our households. We both had gotten tested and we tested negative. And so I was like, well, hey, like I made a peach cobbler. I'm from Oklahoma. I make peach cobbler like from my grandma's recipe. And you know what they say is the key to a man's heart is through his stomach. So I was like, hey, I made a peach cobbler. Like I'm gonna be in LA. Like, you know, can we meet? And so he was like, yeah, we can meet. And then he said he would let me know when he was available. So I already had made my way out there. So it was kind of late. It was probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And mind you, like he lives like 2 hours from where my house. So we end up meeting up at that parking lot and he pulls up in an Audi. And I'm like, okay, like this matched what he put in his profile about the income that he made. And so, you know, I pull up in my Benz and, you know, he ends up getting out of the car and I turn around to get like the peach cobbler out of the car and, you know, he's looking at the donk, he's looking. So I was like, okay, like he's attracted. And so I give him the peach cobbler. We're like chit-chatting a little bit, not really about anything. And then we were at that parking lot for maybe like half an hour. And then, you know, we talked about like trying to see each other again and that he would like come out to Orange County. And so I was like, perfect, just let me know. So he get back in the car, you know, we leave. And so that following week, we ended up meeting up. Mind you, during this time, like, we haven't really had any phone conversation. He made up some story that his aunt was visiting and he wasn't able, like, to get out and he had to wait until she left or something like that. And then he sent me a picture of him and, like, a little chihuahua saying that it was his aunt's dog. So I'm like, oh, how cute, because obviously I work with animals. So he ends up coming out to my house, and I think I did cook, but we didn't end up eating anything. And so he was only at my house for maybe like within the first, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour. He literally had just gotten there and sat down like at my bar area. And so he pulls me close to him and he starts kissing me. And so, you know, obviously we're both attracted. And so he leads me, like, dragging me, like, straight to the bedroom. And it went down. It did. It went down. It was fun. It wasn't vanilla. I was hooked. And it was also unprotected. I know. Stupid. I know. I just felt like I could trust him for some reason. So now I'm, like, really, like, into him because...
Girl! Listen. This video is not to bash anybody. You barely knew this guy. You not only slept with him, but unprotected?
When I like someone, I like you. And I focus on you and I really want... He was supposed to come over again because I made dinner and he was a no-show. And so I got super pissed. I was crying. I was like, oh my God, I feel so stupid. Like, I just had like unprotected sex with you and I don't even know you.
So to not get it confused, when she said tested previously, she was talking about the COVID. Now she's talking about getting tested as in STDs and STIs. It's only now clicking after this guy was a no-show. And this happens a lot of times. The cookie is given very easily. I mean, you guys didn't even have the time to eat. He was already saying the right words and you you fell into infatuation, because I don't think it's not love. Not I don't think. I know it's not love. You don't know this guy. Y'all were having a good time as adults, and now you're realizing, oh, what the heck did I just do? If the hookup culture is what you're into, which obviously she says she's not into it, she must have lost her brain cells with this guy, because he may have been a charmer, good with his words. We've seen it happen over and over. She's not the first and will not be the last on this earth to make this critical mistake that could possibly cost her entire life. What I tend to say when I make relationship videos is, please make sure you guys get tested before y'all have intercourse, especially if you guys have no idea who the guy is. And for guys, if you have no idea who the woman is, stay protected, be safe at all times.
And all this stuff. And then he ends up texting me, I don't know, like so late, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And he said that he had gotten pulled over by the cops because it was a curfew in LA, and that he was sitting on the sidewalk for like 4 hours or something like that. And I'm like,
is that a thing in LA? Is there a curfew? Hold on. I feel like this guy is lying. Hold on. Curfew in LA for adults? Is that what I should be typing? No, there is not a general curfew for adults in LA. Okay, so yeah, for adults. I mean, for kids, yeah, but already lying. But let's also call it what it is. She hasn't said it, but I'm gonna read in between the lines. I think it's safe to say that she was stigmatized, because she did say that it wasn't vanilla. Just saying.
are you okay? I was so worried, but so relieved that he like finally texted me. And so I'm like, are you okay? Like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to you. Like, he was like, yeah, when they ran the plates and saw, you know, my license plate and who I was. And I'm thinking like, who you are, okay. But I don't really know people like that. Like, I don't look up people. I don't,
Vet people. I don't care if a guy is charming. I don't care if he's good with his word. I don't give a crap. Please make sure you vet these men. I'm trying to help y'all. Some of y'all may say, oh, you're too judgmental. And some of y'all may say, you know what? You're spreading great advice, especially to the youth out there, to not fall for men like Byron.
you know, I don't keep tabs on people like that, so I wouldn't know. So I was just like, oh my God, I'm so happy you're okay. Like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And so then I felt better, right? And I was like, we need to get tested. Like, I didn't like that, so I'm getting tested, and you need to get tested before like we get together again. And so told me we get tested. So he, on his profile, it said that his name was Caleb. I did do, after he stood me up like that, I did do a background check on him. So I did a background check on him, and I couldn't find his name anywhere.
You couldn't find his name because his name wasn't what he said it was. And this does make it tougher. We do now have face recognitions. I don't know, face recognitions? Recognition. My goodness. I'm only saying this because she wants a committed relationship, and she wanted to settle down with somebody. She did the complete opposite of what somebody that is ready to settle down did. There are things that you can do as a woman to prevent yourself from falling for this type of guy over here. This is just the tip of the iceberg. She has multiple parts of this, but immediately, just on this part 2 alone, there are so many freaking red flags about this entire situation. If you want a committed relationship, stop moving like you're celebrating hookup culture. If that is what you did in the past, make sure you change it in the future, the same way she was trying to change the type of man she kept going for. Change yourself as well. Look in the mirror and take accountability. Take a break for a second and look within. It starts with you. And a lot of women don't like to hear this, but you have the power at the end of the day to say no, to not sleep with a guy, to not invite a guy into your house. You have the power.
I couldn't find it. So I'm like, that's weird. Like, the only Caleb's, and then he gave me his mom's last name, that I could find were Caucasian men. So I was like, why can't I find him? This is weird.
And just in case somebody in the comment section is going to ask me, well, how are you going to vet somebody if they're not even truthful with their name? Step 1 is don't hook up with them immediately. Talk to them, get to know them. The mask will eventually fall. Or just ask for their ID. Straight up. Just do that for your own freaking safety. Instead of being like her when she said, I don't even know who this guy is. Like, isn't that embarrassing to say, I don't know who this guy is, I just slept with him? That is scary. That is very dangerous. And that is something a lot of people do.
I asked him if he got tested. He told me that because he was in the military, that he had to do mandatory checkups or something like every 3 months, and one of them was like for STDs. Why did I believe that? I mean, I've dated military guys. I ain't never heard of that. I believed everything that he said. Like, I'm not a liar. I'm like overly honest. Okay, people don't like that. Some people don't like that about me. I'm overly honest. So I can't fathom that this dude is like lying to me, because who would go to such extents to lie? Like, it's wild.
I'm not gonna lie, I've never said this, I don't think, in my channel, but I think he laid the pipe well. He knew what he was doing. For you to say, I don't know what I was thinking, girl, she was hypnotized, okay? Because there is no way. Once we know what happened, for all these women to come out, I still don't really know the entire story. I just went downloading all the parts for you guys, and I'm watching it as you guys are watching. But I know that it is something crazy just based on the comments. But a lot of people weren't really saying exactly what it is. It was just a bunch of oohs and ahs. So who knows? But this guy?
Anyway, so he would come over, and he would only come for maybe like 2 hours. We would like do it, and then he would leave.
Okay, this was just a hit it and quit it. What is it? Friends with benefit? FWB? Yeah. Adults just doing adult things. The heart can be very deceiving. I've always said it multiple times. Do what is morally correct in your eyes. Don't do what makes you happy. Okay? If you know, you know. If you've been here for a while, you'll understand why I say that.
He would only come for like an hour. And so I asked him, I said, why do you only come for an hour and you leave so fast? Like, and then he said, oh, well, I come from so far away. It ends up taking a total of like 4.5 hours. So that's why, and I have to get back, like, I have work to do or something like that. So I was just like, oh, okay. Stupid. So dumb. I don't know. Y'all gonna talk so bad about me. I was in my bubble. Like, I'm one of those people, I was sheltered growing up, and I just stayed in like my little bubble. Like, I was very naive, and it never crossed my mind that he was just lying to me. I have bought scooters, and you know, it's COVID, so you know, there's a lot of eating like outside, and where I live, there's like a downtown area with like a lot of restaurants. So we would ride the scooters to restaurants and have a good time.
Wait, girl. Wait. Did you get two scooters? For him and for you? Girl. You only saw him for an hour every other day, or however. Whew, I know, a good chunk of people have been in that situation where you're just naive. I wish she would have told us how old she was, because it would paint a better picture.
I had a neighbor that I've known for a long time. I remember he saw us like kissing in the common, like the garage area or the driveway, and because we were living in a duplex. So he never like said hi to him, or he probably got a weird feeling about him. That should have been a sign. I just thought he was being rude. My birthday. So I'm a Capricorn. My birthday's in January. Capricorn. I was 34, about to turn 35. And I invited him to Big Bear.
I'm sorry. Girl, you were sheltered. You were definitely sheltered. 34? Don't act like you didn't react just like I did, because you probably did. 34? I beg your first available freaking pardon. This is you. You were living under a freaking rock.
And I was like, you know, I want to go to Big Bear for my birthday, because I usually always go somewhere for my birthday. And it's COVID, so I mean, I have to do something local. So I was like, you know, would you want to go with me? And he was like, yeah, I would love to go to Big Bear with you. And I'm like, oh, awesome. I'll book the Airbnb. We're boycotting Airbnb right now, but at the time, right? So anywho, time is coming for us to go on the trip. And I told him, I said, you know, if you want me to, like, I can come pick you up and we can head to Big Bear, like, that way, because I had a truck and I was going to take my truck up there because of the snow. So, I had like a Tundra. Well, yeah, I had a Tundra. So anywho, so he was like, okay, yeah, sure. But then literally the morning of, he changed it up and said, it's okay, you don't have to come here. I'm going to come to you. I was like, okay, well, I mean, that works, then we can leave. Because I think Orange County is closer than where they were at in the valley. Anywho, so I was just like, okay, but then that spidey sense, like, he don't want me going over to his house. But then it's also COVID. So, but it's not like I needed to go in. I could have just been in the driveway and he jumped in the car. But I did have that, like, right? Like, that's, like, it's almost like he didn't want me to come over at all. So we go to Big Bear, have a great time. He parked his Audi in my driveway.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think he was gonna go. I truly did not think he was, but I'm surprised.
My birthday falls on MLK. We're up there having a great time, watching like anime, because he's like super major into anime, and I'm also a little bit of a fan of anime. Like was into like Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon. He wanted to introduce me to the show that he watched called Bleach. So we mainly kind of just watched anime and, you know, had some fun. And, you know, just ate and just kind of locally.
I'm glad, no hate, no shade, that he finally ate something other than you. That could be said the other way around. I'm glad you ate something other than him. This video is not PG, my goodness.
It's really weird about that weekend, but except for we went hiking, he does these different voices that crack me up. He could do like Elmo, like, actually for my son's birthday, I had him dress up as Elmo. And he did the Elmo voice. And so...
Did you have your son dressed up? Wait. Let's just continue watching.
He has like all these different characters that he could do, and the mess would just crack me up. I love to laugh. Like, I love that he was like goofy and silly. He would get free stuff, especially when he used his British accent. He would get... I was amazed. I was like, oh my God, like, how do you just get free things? Like, people just give you stuff for free. And so we were kind of hiking, and then he asked me this question. He goes, so like, you know, if you had to do, like, go down the red carpet, like, would you be comfortable doing that? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess so, you know? He's like, okay, well, you know, I have a red carpet event coming up, and, you know, so I just wanted to know if that's something that you'd be interested in. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, that's exciting. Ooh, like a red carpet event in Hollywood, like, okay. And so we left from there and went back up to the cabin. And so he's sitting on the bed, and I'm looking at him like he had a wife beater on. So I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at his arms. He has all these tats, and I'm looking, and I'm like, he has tattoos of different people's names on his arm. And I was like, who is this? I'm not gonna say his kids' names, but who is this kid? Or who is this name? Like, who's this belong to? Because I have baby footprints. And he was like, oh, I thought I told you. I'm like, no. And he was like, yeah, that's my oldest son. And I'm like, you told me you only had one kid, a daughter. And he was like, oh no, I thought I told you. I said, no, you didn't.
Yeah, he's getting y'all mixed up. Yeah, you didn't tell her. You told the other woman.
Didn't tell me. He's like, oh, I thought I did. Looking some more. There's another name on his arm with the birth date. And I was like, well, who is this one? A girl's name. And it wasn't the daughter that he had told me about. And he goes, oh, I thought she was my daughter, but when I was away and when I got deployed to Afghanistan and I was away, I found out that she cheated on me and that she really wasn't my daughter. And I was like, oh my God. Because I'm thinking, like, why would he deny his kids? Because he has their names, like, tattooed on his body. Like, he tattoos his kids' names on his body. So why, with the birth date and everything. So why would I think that he would, like, make up a story right? About this kid who's half Mexican, half black, right? He's mixed with a bunch of stuff, but she's basically half Mexican, half black. Why would I think he was lying?
PK already told us that this man has kids. For your friend to out you, you definitely are the bottom of the barrel.
The one that he said wasn't his daughter because he found out that she cheated on him. I said, well, how did you know that?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the only one. Why did I even ask that? But if something starts not adding up, I'm quick to just start clocking it, taking mental notes. And immediately when I'm by myself, I'm doing the research in order to get the answers that I want. And if stuff is still not clicking, I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions. She did say she was naive, but 34, girl. I don't think that's naive, because even myself, there are some things that I have never experienced. I experienced them through watching other people, and I said, I'll never do that. Never put myself in that situation. You know what I mean? Never say never, but I'm just saying there are situations where you get the experience from observing other people going through them. So even if she had never experienced, let's say, love or these types of guys, she still could have known to add 1 + 1. You know, if the math ain't mathing, something is off. If something's not adding up, someone told me to subtract yourself, because if it ain't making sense, just leave. It is better to leave and be right than leave and be wrong. In some situations, and definitely in this situation.
One day, me and my brother were driving around and we saw her, and the little girl didn't look like. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. Like, who would lie about that?
Nah, I'm convinced it's the eggplant. She got the eggplant and she completely lost all her cells. She started not thinking with this head, and she started thinking about with that. There's no convincing me otherwise. There's just no way. There's no way.
And then I asked him about his oldest son. I was like, oh, like, do you see your oldest son? Like, and he was like, no. I haven't seen him in a long time, since he was like a toddler. And he goes, yeah, the mom, she's a part of a Jehovah Witness cult, and they're protected by the state. And so they just wouldn't let me see him, and there was nothing that I could do. And I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. Like, so she just wouldn't let you see your son? And he was like, no, she wouldn't let me see him, you know, and there was just like nothing I could do. But I am gonna talk to him when he's like 18. Like, I'm gonna talk to him and I'm gonna tell him like what happened. And you know, because I was concerned. I was like, are you gonna try to like, do you reach out? Like, are you gonna try to, you know, rekindle a relationship? Like, you know, now that he's older? And he was like, you know, yeah, when he's 18. I was like, oh God, like, that's terrible. I think it's terrible that someone that wants to be involved in their child's life and they're not allowed to be. Like, I don't agree with that. So he said that, yeah, he had lived in Georgia for a little bit. And when him and his girlfriend told me that she was his girlfriend, or his son's mom, all these things that I'm telling you guys, this is all gonna come back around. Like, these little stupid details are actually very important. So he was like, oh, you know, she wouldn't let me see him, so I just left. Like, we didn't get along, and the family didn't want me there, and they lived in a compound. He told me that they lived in a compound. He was like, yeah, they live in a compound because her uncle is rich or whatever, and they live in this, whole family lives in a compound. And so once her and I didn't get along and I left, like, they didn't want me to be involved. They didn't want me around. So I was just like, okay. And that's what he told me about his kids. So we're done at Big Bear. We drive back down to my house. I think it's only like maybe it's a 2-hour drive. I don't remember. Maybe an 1.5 hour, 2-hour drive from Big Bear. And so we say goodbye. He gets back in the car and he's sitting in the driveway for a little bit. And mind you, this is during the George Floyd stuff, okay? I had so much anxiety. I don't know if anyone else can relate, but I had a ton of anxiety. Like, I was scared to leave my house sometimes. And I live in a predominantly Caucasian area. especially the neighborhood that I was in. So I would get scared sometimes that I would come out and I would see the N-word written like on like one of my like units. And so I remember wanting to feel safe. And I like the fact that he used to be a Marine and he's tall and he had, you know, arms. Not a super muscular person, but he worked on his arms. And I just felt like safe. And so the neighbor that I had at the time, not the one that I shared the duplex with, but the one across the street, would write like a lot of racial slurs, say such and such, such and such, such and such. If you don't like it here, like go back to where you came from. And all of, I mean, he would have different things almost every week on this sign that he put, oh my God, outside of his house. So I had to move one of my units from across the street, and I busted a U like in front of his house. Legally, like, so I park it, and all of a sudden this man comes from across the street yelling at me. He's like probably 80. And he's like, I called the cops on you because of your turn. I'm like, what? I'm like, why would you call the cops on me because you didn't like the way that I turned? And then I just like lost it. And I was yelling at him and I was like, you better stay the bleep away from me. All you want to see, why would you call the cops on me for something stupid like that? Like, you just want to see me get shot. Like, and all these people are driving by staring at me. But I was just like so tense, you know, like so scared during that time. He was in the car, so he didn't see any of it. And, you know, I went in the house, I was like crying. It was like a whole...
How did he not see anything at all? If you're yelling, girl, you know you better watch out. Byron's gonna get you.
Let me fast forward to when he had to go to Colorado. Finally tells me that he had a roommate, because I told him, I said, I kind of feel like you're living with a woman or something. Like, are you living with a woman? Like, I just get that feeling.
If you get the feeling he ain't gonna tell you, what you need to do is go over there and get your heart broken for real. That naiveness is gonna go out the window as soon as you see the other woman in his place. It's not a roommate. Like I said, I do not know half of the story time, but I know for a fact there's a woman in there. It's not a roommate.
And he was like, no, I mean, I have roommates, but I'm trying to move out. And I said, oh, okay. And so he said, yeah, I'm trying to move out. And I did find a place. And so...
See, at that, I would just have so many questions at that point. You have roommates, have kids, how your kids see you. Are your roommates okay with your kids? Do you get all your kids at one time? Do you get them every other day? Do you get them every other week? Is it one baby mama? Is it two baby mama? Is it 6 baby mama? Is it 5? I would have so many. There's just no way. I would have... You know what? You had an image because you already wanted to settle down and you gave up the cookie. You already wanted him to be a certain way and you were going to be as delusional to yourself as possible. You were going to lie to yourself basically into believing that this was the guy for you no matter how many red flags there were. I'm convinced that's what this is all about.
So it's not going to be ready. So I'm going to go to Colorado for a month. He said he was going to go to Colorado for a month during his birthday month, which is, he's an Aquarius. He was just like, yeah, I'm going to go up there for a month. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, I can't be without him for a month. Like, I'm falling for him, right? Like, that's too long. He said he'd be back and then he would move into his new spot. And he's moving out from the valley and going to be like almost like close to downtown LA. So I was just like, okay, like, I'm going to miss you. And so I secretly planned to fly out there because he was going to be there during Valentine's weekend. And so I like wrote all these cute little letters, and he's supposed to open up one every other day or something. I don't know. I was being very romantic. So, and one of the letters he would open up, it would be like, surprise, I'm coming out there to visit you. And so he ends up leaving like February the 1st, I think, which is like 4 days before his birthday. And so he ends up leaving February 1st on a plane to go stay with his mom in Colorado. And then, because that's where he's from. So he's like from Colorado, but also from LA. His family's lived both places. So he grew up like kind of half and half. So he's gonna go to Colorado and stay up there. So he left February 1st. He calls me like February the 2nd, and he was like, do you have time to talk? And I'm like, I always have time to talk. You know, he was like, well, call me after you're done working. And I said, okay, no problem. So I call him after I'm done working, and he's like bothered, breathing hard, like acting like he's nervous. And I'm like, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong? And he was like, I'm so scared if I tell you this, you're not gonna talk to me anymore. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, I'm a very understanding, open-minded person.
Yeah, you are.
And like, whatever you have to tell me, it can't be that bad. Like, you know, just tell me. Mind you, when I was dating him, and in the beginning, I had asked him if he had a social media account, and he told me he's never had a social media account. He's like, no, I don't do social media. But then I should have thought, well, that doesn't make sense, because if you're like an actor or something, like, wouldn't you have a social media account? So...
Actor? Did I miss that on the website? Actor? I didn't read all of it, but actor?
I was just like, oh, okay. But again, I did background checks on him again, and nothing popped up. So, and mind you, I still think his name is Caleb. And this is now going into the 8th week of us talking. So, on to the next part.
You're telling me all this in 8 weeks? I just want to know what the heck he is gonna tell her. Let's get into the other part.
So I give him a call. He's like acting nervous, and I'm like, just tell me, tell me. And then he goes, okay, so my name is not Caleb. What? And I'm like, okay. And so, mind you, this is like February the 1st. We went out there on the 1st, I think this is February the 2nd. He gives me the name of a website, or the URL of a website. And he's like, okay, well, on your phone, like, type in this website.
We already have it, girl. We already went through with it. We already saw what it is. We saw exactly who this guy is. This guy has been rubbing me the wrong way, but now it's like he's trying to play Mr. Mystery. He's like, Caleb's not really my name. Google me, babe.
I type in the website. So I go, okay, so your name is Byron. Why would you lie about that? Why would you lie about your name? So he goes, well, I was in a high profile relationship with a celebrity's daughter, and we had broken up, and we've been broken up for a year. Because I asked him, so how long have you guys been broken up? And he said a year. And I'm like, okay, I'm confused, but so I'm assuming that's who your roommates were. And he was like, yeah, we were living in her parents' back house. So you guys broken up for a year, but you're still living there. He was like, yeah, because of COVID, so I had to move in. And then something happened like with her dad. He had a stroke. And then we definitely couldn't tell the family that we weren't engaged anymore. And it was just a lot. You know, he basically told me that he just had to be careful, and that's why he had to give me a fake name. In my head, I was like processing it, but then I'm like talking to myself, like trying to rationalize it. Like, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, yeah, I can understand that. Like, I can understand why you had to give me a fake name, because you're in a high profile relationship with a celebrity's daughter, and you guys had to be careful because of the media and blowback or whatever.
1 second. I'm just gonna put this eggplant right here, because there's no convincing me otherwise. And right next to the eggplant, we're gonna put the peach. He had this on lockdown. Her understanding his BS, this is it. Right here. Because there's just no way on earth. You were just so understanding. He has kids, but one of them is with a Jehovah's Witness, the mother, and he has no access to the child until the child is 18. Celebrity profile that he's dating, and he didn't want to tell you that he's living with her instead of the roommates that he claimed to be living. And you're just so understanding and naive, and you're 34. No, girl. I'm not buying it. That's what it was. You may have fallen for the Tinder Swindler or whatever his name is, but I ain't falling for you.
I was determined, because I didn't need him. No, like, I'm an independent, woman. I'm doing my thing. Like, I didn't need him, but I wanted him. And because I wanted him, and I was like, I'm the type of person, like, I'm a tenacious person. Like, when I see something that I want, like, I go after it. And I'm like a pit bull, and I don't let go. I'm like, no, this is what I want, and I'm gonna figure out how to get it. And so, I mean, I guess that's a part of the entrepreneurial spirit that I have. Like, that's just me. I've always been like that. So it didn't matter what he told me, because he told me what I needed to hear to like rationalize it and make it okay.
No. No. He told you stuff that did not make sense. It did not add up, but you chose to add it up for you. He said, you know what? 1 + 1 = 3. And you said, you know what? Maybe if I just minus the other 1, I could just make it a 2. Maybe we could just make it happen. We can make it make sense out of thin air. I mean, it's only 3, right? Like, obviously it's 2, but I mean, a lot of people are saying it's 2, but maybe it's just 3. It's okay if it's 3. That's literally what you were doing. Maybe it's 2. Girl, you know you better watch out. That D.
Problem was that I already told my mom about him. And now I'm gonna have to explain to my mom, because I was so excited about him. I'm like, this is the one, like, oh my God, like, it's like I've known him forever. Like, he's my person.
I need us to go back to the notes that you took, and I need you to read each and every note. Were you okay with the man that had this many children? I need us to go back to the draw. I wish I had a time machine.
Like, I know this is serious. Like, so I already told her. And so now I got to explain why his name is no longer Caleb. Now I got to explain that. And here are some photos. Oh my God. Here's some photos. And then on to the next. I don't know how you guys...
Okay, so I guess this is the V+. I never heard of V+ ever in my life. Occupation, sales, marketing. Annual income 75 to 150, height 6'5", muscular, Christianity, black, yes, and they live away from home. Okay, he said he has kids. Yeah. And it doesn't say kid, it says kids. Want kids, yes, someday, never, socially. I'm not okay if my partner has no sense of... Okay, Byron. Okay.
Do this on TikTok because it is very time consuming. These videos take so long to upload, so I'm hoping that I can get through this without the videos being super duper long. Like when it's like when people tell you these crazy stories, it's hard to believe because it's just that crazy. Like, who would make this stuff up? It's like a Tyler Perry movie. It's so insane that you're like, that can't be right. I'm gonna share these and then we're gonna talk about his ex-fiance, and I have had permission. I got permission from her to share her videos of when she posted about him around that time that he told me what his real name was.
I'm clocking to work on my whatever. You walk into your on the dashboard and a card that says, don't chase your dreams, hunt them. P.S. I'm so very proud of you, Caleb. I just saw the top of that. Have a great day, boo. I know we've both been busy and working hard, but I've definitely been thinking about you. Just wanted to know, have an amazing day. My sexy entrepreneur on her way to being a mogul. I have no, oh my gosh, she's so naive. She was, oh my gosh, okay. I have no words. I do have the biggest Kool-Aid smile on my face. You're everything. This will be my day. Thank you. Oh my gosh, she's a hopeless romantic. No. I hope that experience with Byron. Oh my gosh, it just reminded me of that Byron. I can't remember that movie. That was a good movie. What was the name of that? It doesn't matter. I hope that he does not cause you to lose hope and love and all of that. Anyway, we're gonna move on.
My family, my mom, me and my sisters are nosy. We are nosy, okay? And we do some research. Now, I wish I would have did as much research on him then, because I think I definitely did a background check when he told me his real name. When he told me his real name, background check. There was nothing like, The site that I use, there's so many different sites, but the site that I had used at that time didn't really tell me much.
Respectfully, I don't think you were nosy enough for me, but your sister and your mother, they definitely were. They were on the right track.
Let me look this up, right? So look him up, and it didn't really tell me anything that made me it didn't make me become concerned, I guess.
I don't even think you needed a background check at that point because he told you everything you need to know about him. Run for the hills and never look back.
Obviously, there's all these red flags. You guys are seeing them. You guys are seeing all of these red flags that happened in the very, very, very beginning that I completely ignored. Nothing told me oh, this is a red flag. Nothing told me that. And I know you're looking and you're like, how can you not see these? I literally didn't, because I didn't.
He said, I can't see, I'm blind. I think even if she had her friends tell her that, girl, you need to run for the hills, she would have been like, I can see.
I want to see it. I didn't want to see it. And so my red flags was if I did a background check on him and if he actually had a criminal record or, marriage certificates, all that stuff, that would have, for me, would have been my red flags. But none of that popped up in the background search that I did on him. So, but my mama does her research. And because he already told me his version of the story when it came to his fiance, which I'm about to share, I didn't want to see anything. My mom wanted to show me, and I did not want to see it. I told her, no, Mom, he already told me about that. The thing about B is that he will give you 5% of truth and the other 95% is complete BS. Complete. And it never crossed my mind that this person was... I've never met somebody who lied. Well, I probably have met someone that lied that much but didn't realize it when I kind of think back on some of my experiences, but I never met someone that lied that much. And it's but if you're engaged, why would you lie about that? Why would you lie about being engaged?
Okay. Because he wanted to be with multiple women, including yourself. That's why. I mean, she keeps saying, why would he lie about? Because people lie, bro. They just lie. If it wasn't obvious already, I'm done buying the being naive, 34 years old, not realize. It's all BS. You had an image of this guy, like you said, and you were going to do anything and everything to make sure that he fits. And I think all this wouldn't have happened if you would not have given up the cookie.
No, I didn't think that he was lying to me about the fiance. And no, I legit believed him. Oh yeah, they've been broken up for a year. And he told me that she was crazy. And that,
if a guy says that their ex is crazy, ask to talk to the ex. I'm tired of hearing oh, my ex is crazy. Let me talk to the ex. Call her up. Give me her number. Let me talk to her so I can determine if she's crazy or not. Now, obviously, if she has a criminal record and all this stuff, then yeah, but if he has shown you all these red flags that you chose to ignore, and then he tells you that the ex was crazy, you have no desire of believing that he has cut the show.
He told me some other stuff and that she was crazy. And there's always two sides to every story. He said that she was bipolar also. But I really should have sat and thought on that about, okay, someone may have a bipolar disorder. She does not. But someone may have a bipolar disorder, but it doesn't mean that the things that happen to them, their experiences, is a lie or that they're crazy. When he said that and he told me something I was like, oh my God, she did what? And so it did make it sound like she was crazy. And so I believed him. And then, of course, I get the backstory on that particular situation. I can share some of that, and I'll do that a little later. But I had a background on that situation. And so then when I had the whole story, I'm like, oh, because he left all that out. He left all that out. So we will talk about that. Okay, I'm about to show you her videos that she put out. And again, she's a comedian, so it's funny. It's funny, haha, but it's also like sad. Extremely sad, but she makes jokes out of all of it.
Now, the lady we're about to watch is the fiance of this guy over here, and her name is Paige Bryan. And if you guys know David Atkins, Sinbad, the comedian, it's his daughter. The mother did more digging, the mother and the sister did more digging than her. I guess it's easier for relatives because they're not in love with this man of yours, so they will clock the red flags better than you would, right? So let's get into Paige Bryan and see what she has to say.
I quit. Dating sucks, hated here, blah, blah, blah. So this one is not about a date because apparently I need to actually go on one in order to keep telling you guys stories. Minor technicality I did not take into consideration. Oh, but do not worry, because considering this is the last story time of 2021, the tea that I'm about to spill is much, much juicier. Don't believe me? Well, what if I told you that I started out the beginning of this year engaged to who I thought was the love of my life, only to find out that he just announced that he's expecting a baby with the that he cheated on me with.
Wait. Reel this back in. So she's probably talking about Millie. Millie is pregnant with Byron's child.
Yay! I'm sorry, I shouldn't have called her. That was misdirected anger. There's literally only one monster in this story. Unless she knew about me, in which case, the stands. But that's not the point. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back while I tell the tall tale of the time that I almost married a narcissistic sociopath. And in case you're wondering, yes, this is going to hurt. The year was 2018, and after a summer of trolloping through the ghetto streets of dating, I finally met a man who, I hate to admit it, but swept me off my feet. And by now, y'all already know what turned your girl real basic real quick. He was tall, he was funny, he was beautiful, he was scrumptious. Sidebar, I am completely convinced that the devil is walking the earth disguised as beautiful men. So from this point on, it'll only be Pee Wee Hermans and Steve Urkels for me. And don't even try to play me with that Stefan or Kel shit. I see right through you. Not today, Satan. So we instantly connected. It was one of those like, I just met you, but I feel like I've known you forever type of connections. And while I thought initially he was just being very intentional of his pursuit of me, I have come to find out that he was just exercising that age-old manipulation tactic used by narcissists all around the world known as love bombing. Yeah, there's definitely going to be multiple parts to this story. Anyway, where was I? Oh, that's right. Love bombing. Super f***ed up, but super effective. So much so that I fell in love with him, thought he fell in love with me, and after 11 months of dating, he asked me to marry him. It was not a simple ask. No. Because that's not how narcissists roll. They don't do quiet and intimate. They do loud and outlandish, like flash mobs, because how else can they ensure maximum humiliation when they up and leave you? I mean, if you're a sociopath, it makes sense. If you're not, well, you base. Ooh, pro tip for all my aspiring narcissistic sociopaths out there. If you have any children that you don't actually take care of, but you use as pawns in order to disarm other people, you should totally incorporate them into your con because it works like a charm. We're talking that shit is très magnifique. Now, you know y'all nosy and you want some more tea, so head on over to part 2. Welcome back to the Holiday Limited series, So I Almost Married a Narcissistic Sociopath, brought to you by Dating Sucks and I Hate It Here. Tequila's up. Let's do this. Okay, so now I'm engaged, and I'm not even gonna front. I was so happy. I was like over the moon, on my knees praying, Jesus, you did it. You see me. Won't he do it? He did though. But now I'm over here like, but what's really good, fam? Anyways. Sorry. So listen, your girl is no spring chicken, so I wasted no time planning the dream wedding that I have literally been thinking of and conjuring up for the past 30 years. Now, for the most part, planning was a cinch. I mean, we had the date, we had the venue, I had my dress, my girls had they dresses. I mean, I was sitting up there on my high horse like, I thought this was supposed to be stressful, but I guess not for me. Little did I know that I would come to wish that my biggest issue was trying to figure out how to keep Uncle Ray Ray and Auntie Poom Poom from sitting next to each other. So, like, I don't know if you heard, but in 2020,
I just wanted to take a pause because she's moving fast, she's telling her story, and she is a comedian, as Millie said. With that being said, obviously she's making light of the situation, but if you see me giggling, I'm more so giggling because I'm like, dang, this is really sad. Like, yes, she's making light of the situation, but if you actually listen beyond her making it silly, it's really sad. Anyway,
whole world kind of shut down because of this little virus situation. I don't know. If you ask me, it was a little over. Oh my God. Am I dying? I think I'm dying. Oh my God. I gotta take a test. And we're back. Seeing as this is my first global pandemic, I was not prepared for the way in which an entire collective global tragedy will come for your entire life. And you know who it's even more inconvenient for? Trifling heifers who've been secretly in these streets being foul. Now, when you're a narcissist and you are living not just a double life, but 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 different lives, things get real tricky when you're slapped with a stay-at-home order and you're forced to quarantine and you're thus messing up every cover story you've ever created in your entire existence, because where are you going, my dog? No, really, where are you going? So it's the latter half of 2020 and my intuition is on trill. A couple situations occurred that now had me realizing the math isn't mathing, because basically he still wanted to be on his boy shit, except the whole world has changed. So he can't move how he used to move, or really he can't hide how he used to hide. You want to know the number one surefire way to piss off a narcissist and have them showing their ass, the real one? Be unrelenting in your pursuit of the truth. As my girl Chelsea Hart would say, they do not like this. One thing you should know about me, if something don't look right, taste right, sound right, feel right, I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna keep saying something until you make it make sense. Can't make it make sense? Well then, ain't nobody gonna be happy. This feels like a good time to tell you to run, not walk, to part 3. That's it. Welcome to part 3. Before we continue, I just want to do a little check-in. How are we doing? Are we okay? That's a silly question. No, we're not. But anyway, so at this point, nothing makes sense to me anymore, and I am not letting anything go. And because I'm not letting anything go, he basically powered up on his narcissistic villain powers and decided to go ham on the gaslighting, the manipulation, and the outright emotional and mental abuse. This man spent the next 3 to 4 months trying to convince me that I was out of my whole mother mind. I mean, everything that I shared with him, every vulnerability, every insecurity, every fear, everything that I gave to him because I thought he was a safe space for me, he was now throwing back at me like brrrr. I mean, at this point, he was basically taking every audacity he had ever stored up in his entire life and was firing them off like grenades. For example, he comes to me one day and tells me that he needs to go to Big Bear, which is in the mountains, for a work training. The reason that this is problematic is because we're in a shutdown. There is no work training, my dog. There's barely any work. You must think I'm dumb. He tries to gaslight me into believing that it is because of my severe insecurity that I cannot see things clearly. Because if I could see things clearly, I would see that he's just trying to go do what's best for our family.
then you would know that he is just trying to go with Millie to Big Bear. I'm surprised he even was honest about the Big Bear situation. Man, hearing this side of the story, after hearing what Millie had to say, I'm sure she was just about as surprised as us. Oh my days.
Future. Nah, fam, I see just fine. You trying to go to the mountains and deep dive in somebody else's Poonan. Now, did this stop him from going? Absolutely not. He literally dipped out one day while I was in the shower and wait for it, my car. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I fail to mention that at this exact same time, my dad had just had a severe stroke and was in a medically induced coma with the doctors telling us he might not make it? So I'm already depressed. My anxiety is all over the place. And instead of being my rock, my comfort, I don't know, someone to lean on, no, he decided to be Satan incarnate. So after months of literally traumatizing me mentally and emotionally, he decides he's going to go visit his mom. 3 days after he leaves, I get a call from him where he's like, you're bat crazy, your family's bat crazy, and honestly, I no longer have the bandwidth and I don't want to marry you anymore. Oh yes, you heard that correctly. He broke off our engagement over the phone from his mama's house in another state. Now, to really paint a picture of just how diabolical a narcissist is, my dad was scheduled to have another surgery and had written us all letters, including him. This man sat there and let me read the letter that my daddy wrote to him and then proceeded to blow up my entire life no more than 35 seconds later. You have made it this far. Welcome to the finale of So I Almost Married a Narcissist. I've made it this far. Welcome to the finale of So I Almost Married a Narcissistic Sociopath. So he's just blown up my entire life, and if the way in which he did so was not gut-wrenching enough, over the next couple months, I would come to find out that he had multiple children that I knew nothing about. He owes a shit ton of back child support. He basically was cheating on me our entire relationship. At this point, I feel like I'd be pressed to find a day where he was faithful, and my personal favorite, he's married. to someone else. And that's the real kicker for me, ladies and gentlemen, because plot twist, that means we were never actually gonna get married.
Did PK mention that? The friend? Did I miss that? Did she mention that? You know what? What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go and search this guy up. I'm gonna vet him and find whatever I can find about him, and follow me on Instagram. I will post it on my story for you guys to see.
So when he proposed to me, he knew we weren't going to get married. When we started planning our wedding, he knew we weren't going to get married. When we did our engagement photos, he knew we would not get married. When my family paid deposits for the venue, for the caterer, for the DJ, for the flowers, for the planner, he knew we were not going to get married. When I bought my dress, he knew we were not going to get married. When my girls spent money on their dresses, he knew we were never going to get married.
A true freaking bum. I wonder if the wife has said anything. And the thing is, there are so many other Byrons out there. So many.
Now, if that's not a narcissistic sociopath, then I don't know what is. So that's the skinny on how I almost married a narcissistic sociopath.
I'm just trying to figure out, because Millie was able to spot that he had multiple kids because of his tats, if she never saw that.
And now he is having a baby with his new supply, and congrats to the happy couple. No, not really. I hope you're miserable. BT dubs, sis, if he ends up proposing to you with a really beautiful oval-shaped halo engagement ring,
don't tell me it's yours. Do not tell me it's yours.
That's mine. Could I get that back? I only ask because, my parents paid for it. Okay, I know that's petty, but I earned it.
Your parents paid for your engagement ring? Wait, was this your... Wait, what? Wait. Somebody fill me in the comment section below. Did you pay for your own engagement ring?
Okay, real talk. I know that I use humor a lot to retell some really painful and hard truths about my life, but I want to make it very clear. Anyone who has experienced being in a relationship of any kind, whether emotionally, physically, mentally, and in relationship with a narcissistic personality, that is no joking matter. It is so incredibly painful, and it is so incredibly difficult to try and recover from. Healing and rebuilding from this has been one of the hardest and scariest things that I've ever done, because I fully believed that this was going to destroy me. But somehow it didn't. Actually, I know how. I know what it's like to experience a pain that you can literally feel tearing pieces of you away. And I'm not here to give you answers because frankly, I don't have them. I just simply want to remind you that you are not alone, and to encourage you to keep fighting for you, because those places that we think are impossible for us to get to, they're not.
That message at the end that she gave was very important. I'm glad she toned it down a little bit in order to end it that way, because at the end of the day, you're not crazy, you're not stupid, you're not the words that he may be telling you. If you are dealing with somebody that has narcissistic tendencies, I know that word has been so overused. Go back to the drawing board and check out the red flags, and you'll realize you need to get out, and get out now. That was Paige's story. I'm sure there's more little details, but she just hit all the main points. We're back to Millie with the part 9 of this entire situation.
Yeah, she called me a B, but no, girl, I didn't know. We had a long conversation, okay? A very long conversation after the fact. And so all love here, all love here. Aren't y'all mad at me? I'm mad at me. Like, seriously. She put that out. So mind you, he wiped her off his social media, and then told me to look up his social media and gave me, right? And then had me look at it. But she was no longer on there. And then come to find out that they were supposed to get married. It was, what did I tell you? Like February 2nd when he told me the truth. They were supposed to get married on like February the 11th, I think it said. I'm trying to find the picture of their engagement with the wedding date, but I can't find it. I have so many photos I need to filter through on my phone. Anyways, so they were supposed to get married like February 11th or 12th. I'm sure she has it. But, so yeah, so he broke up with her like 2 weeks prior. And now he's fully mine, right? Like he got the time. I found another text message where he mentioned to me, I was telling my best friend, I was like, oh,
Caleb, and this is when I still thought he was Caleb, 6 weeks into us knowing each other, he goes, maybe you and I can move in together. I forgot about that he even said that. And I remember I told him, I'm not moving in with you. Like, I don't know you. And then after he told me his real name, and
maybe that's what we need to do. That's what people out there need to do. Before you sleep with somebody, ask yourself, if they were to ask you right now if you could move in, or if they could move in with you, would you allow it? If not, don't open your legs. And for the men, don't sleep with her. It's gonna have to come to that, because what the actual
he was still in Colorado because the apartment wasn't ready yet. And so he would joke around talking about, let's have a baby. And I'm like, I'm not having a baby with you. Like, I barely know you. But he jokes all the time. So I didn't know if he was being serious or not. I didn't think he was being serious, because why would you mention having a baby with someone just a few months after you know them?
I'm tired of her saying, I don't know, why would you lie? Why would you do it? Because that's what people do. Come on. Knowing what we know now, spoiler, if you did not catch on to what Paige had to say, she got pregnant with him, with his child. Anyway.
Them, right? And here I'm single, I ain't got no kids. Like, I didn't plan on having kids unless this was someone that was gonna marry. So, and mind you, I'm 35 at the time. So he, I leave, I come back home. I told him that I loved him. I'm the first one that said it. I told him that I loved him so I went out there Valentine's weekend. We spent the weekend together. My sister, also at the time lived in Colorado. So I was able to meet up with her. And then I told him that I loved him, and got home. He was supposed to come back like the next week, and he was supposed to move into his new apartment. So he asked me to go. No. He calls me because he missed his flight home, and he's literally freaking out. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, stay calm. It's okay. Like, we can figure this out. I'm a problem solver. Like, if you freak out, I'm not going to freak out. If you freak out, we're going to try to solve it. Like, that's just how I operate. So I was like, look, I'll front you the money. I know, guys. I said, I'll front you the money. It was $1,500. I'll front you the money. Don't worry. I'll go get the keys. I'll give the lady, the check, and it'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be able to move in. So I did all that. He's like thanking me so much. He didn't have a vehicle. So he kept telling me that he had to turn in his lease. And then when he was supposed to turn in his lease, he didn't turn it in. He still had the car. He had like the car up until like he was supposed to leave. And so for Colorado. So I had asked him, I'm like, oh, did you turn in the car yet? And he was like, no, they let me keep it for a couple more days. And I'm like, that's not the way leases work. I know how leases work. He'd be like, well, I worked at a car dealership, and, I was the financial manager, and I know how these things work.
What weren't you? Seriously. He was everything. Anything that you wanted him to be, he was that.
Okay, well, how long ago was that? I mean, I don't even know. But I lease cars, and I know that's not the way the lease works. When your lease is up, you need to have the car back. And you can't go over 100 miles and you get charged. So he was like, if I could get a car, I can get a car if I needed to, like, no problem. I'm like, okay, cool. Randomly, right? He like randomly will say these things. He randomly said that. And so I'm like, cool, like he can get a car, that's cool. But then he goes, well, I guess I can just ride a scooter around LA and, I'll be fine. And then I'm like, oh my God, he doesn't have a car? Like, he can't ride a scooter.
Do not tell me that you got this man a car. If she says that, I may just be done. I know some of y'all are looking at the timer right now of this video trying to determine if I stayed or not. Let's continue watching.
He was living like downtown LA. I'm like, he can't ride a scooter everywhere down there. Like, you need a vehicle. So guess what I did? Can you guess, guys? Can you guess what Camille did? Here's my Benz. Give him the keys. Here, you can borrow my other, I have a few cars. That was like my weekend car. This is my gift to myself.
He is a bum. You know, something needs to be studied. Women that are successful that end up with bums. There's delusion on the woman's end. There's manipulation on the guy's end. Something psychologically, he's a psychotherapist, right? Something psychologically needs to be examined. If you are a psychologist watching this, please check the pinned comments. If you have any expertise in any of the fields that I cover in my channel, check the pinned comment and we'll talk.
I like to drive nice cars because I work so hard. So this is like my guilty pleasure, okay? So I give him the keys to my Benz and I'm like, just don't drive it too much because it's a lease, so you can't go around the miles. Give him the keys to my Benz so now he has a vehicle. Because, I mean, I can't let my man go from driving an Audi to a scooter. Like, no. He has to have a nice car. This is like, knock, knock, hello. Like, this is my mentality, right? I'm Captain Save-A-Bro. Me and my therapist talk about this.
You are Miss Bill the Bear, Bill the Man, the one that I always talk about. Listen, life is already hard. Do not be out here trying to make it harder by building a man, especially at a grown age.
I'm Captain Save-A-Bro, and working on getting out of that. I like to help people. I like to be there for people. I like to problem solve for people.
Baby, you can donate to charity. You can go do community service. You can go to women that are bruised and battered. You can go to those types of organizations. You can do so many things to help people if that's what you want to do. But the last thing you need to do is help a man. I'll tell you that right now, because if it won't ever be reciprocated and you have a feeling that it won't, don't do it. Do not do it.
And I have this really bad pattern. So, Captain Save-A-Bro. I gave him the keys to my Benz. And that wasn't my new car too. I had just gotten that car. Maybe like 6 months prior to that. So it was a new car. He didn't pay me back right away. Next thing I know, he's like buying furniture. Like he bought like a new bed. He bought a desk. And I'm thinking like, well, where's my money for the apartment? So but I don't say anything because I'm just waiting, right? Because if someone tells you they're going to do something, then they should do it. And so...
In what world does she live in?
So I'm not one to nag. So I was just like, okay, I'll just sit back and watch. But I should have, because that was a boundary that I let him cross. Like, I should have nagged. It's not even nagging. It's, you told me you're going to give me money back, so that's what you need to do. So eventually he did. 4 months later, he randomly gives me cash and was like, I know I owe you this. And it was the total amount. So one day he asked me to borrow. Mind you, he has never asked me to borrow money in our entire relationship, except for one time. And he asked to borrow $2,000 so that he could buy a car. And he's like, I just need help. Like, I just need like $2,000 and I can get a car. And I'm like, okay, like, cause he paid me back the $1,500. So I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I know he paid it late, but he still paid it back. So I'm thinking like, okay, $2,000, I can do that. Like, I can help you out and get you a cashier's check for $2,000. Stupid again. So I gave him a cashier's check for $2,000 and I meet him at the car dealership in LA. So when we get there, when I get there, he comes out and he goes, actually, it's not $2,000. It's going to be $3,000. So can you like give me your credit card? I didn't feel comfortable with this. I've been scammed before when it came to cars. And I'm like, no, I need to be the one to run it. Like, it's my card. He's like, no, he did not want me to come inside the dealership. I gave him my card and he ran that extra $1,000. And there goes, the money that he needed to get a car.
Who's to say he didn't take a photo of your credit card and then he's going to use it? Maybe I'm spoiling the story, but I'm just thinking.
Okay, y'all, I have not slept maybe but 2 hours. Supposed to wake up in 40 minutes. So I'm going to do some recording so that I can upload these as the day progresses. My last day of working. Today's my Friday. Yay. Oh, all right. So now America,
your boy now has a BMW. I have a picture of it. I'm gonna put it up here. So he had asked me, he was like, oh, which car do you think I should get? And it was between like a VW, a CV, I can't remember which one it is right now, and then or a BMW, a 2016 325i, I think is what it was, a black one. And he was like, which one do you think I should get? And I'm like, well, I mean, if you have kids, you should get the SUV, because, you know, they can fit in the SUV, because mind you, he's tall, and this is a little, like, he would have to put his seat all the way back. Not really practical when you have a family, like, so, but I mean, mind you, like the BMW it was a 4-door. So, I mean, I guess so. Anyway, do you guys see like the manipulation? I didn't see it.
Not only do I see the manipulation, but I see the delusion in you.
You know what sucks is when your brain goes through corrective memory, when what you thought was happening versus what was actually happening, and then now your brain has to correct that. And that's the part that sucks after you've gone through something traumatic. It continues because your brain is just like processing constantly until it processes everything, and things start to slow down. And then, you know, you can like start your healing process, which is where like I'm at. So, he got his BMW, and his reaction when he got that car, he was overly ecstatic. And that's what made me be like, he's acting like he ain't never had a car before of his own. Like his reaction, he was so happy. And I'm thinking, why is he so overly happy?
Because he's gonna go swindle more women and get more money out of them and not pay them. That's why he's so happy. He's also a bum that probably has never owned a car. I don't know. Allegedly.
About this 2016 BMW when he was driving an Audi. I don't even know what year Paige's Audi was. This is how obviously we all know that it's her car. It's her Audi. But I didn't even know what year her car was, but it was newer than a 2016, because we're in 2021 at this time. It's 2021. So now I get my car back. And that's when I was just kind of like, okay. And that thing deep, like the pit in my stomach, I was like, that wasn't his car. So remember the text message that I put in the one of the videos where his name was Caleb, right? This is my proof that it's his picture, and I'm thinking he's Caleb. And so, but when we meet up, I'm looking at his phone, and I'm like, you have an iPhone, so why are your bubbles green? And he would say, oh, I don't know, like something must be happening, like I have to have the phone checked. I'm like, okay, because I mean, do you have...
Girl, come on. Come freaking on. It's a burner phone because he's cheating on you. It's a burner phone. I could have told you that. I'm glad you clocked that, because obviously we didn't know he had an iPhone. I just assumed he had an Android because the text were green, but...
Messages turned off? Like, why is your bubble green? So then he did that whole like third person validation, a third person that I haven't spoken to. And he goes, oh yeah, my mom said the same thing, like was asking me the same thing, why my bubble was green, and I do have to get that checked out. And I'm just like, So, we got to rewind. So when he was in Colorado and he gave me his real social media account and his name and all that, he also gave me his real number. And that's when the bubbles became blue. So over like the next maybe like month, I was asking him, like, did you have like a spoof number? Were you using like a Google number? Like, I'm confused because now this number is a Colorado number. And he was like, no, like something was just wrong with my phone. Like, no, I changed my number is what he said. I'm like, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna screenshot that. And I actually have the Colorado number. And what I found on the background report also. So yes, I will share that. I will share that. This is my journey of how I collected all these little things, still was rolling with whatever he said, but it was there, you know, like it was there. So now he's moved into the apartment. His best friend is a mutual friend of Paige, okay? And she told me that she actually introduced this guy to Byron because they all like went to church together. That Byron had no friends when she met him. And when her and I were talking after the fact, I thought that was weird that he would, in a relationship, that he really didn't have that many friends because he comes off as like the nicest person. He even will say that, I am the nicest person. And he was. And so someone who's that like outgoing and personable, you think they would have a lot of friends. But he had like no friends. And the friends that he did have that knew him for a long time all live out of state. They don't live in the same state as him. And he doesn't see them like that. So that was another red flag. So we're at his apartment, which was like super tiny. I did not like staying. We always had to end up going to my house because I needed like more room. But it was cute. It was a cute apartment. He like fixed it all up and, you know, it was perfect for just a single person. So, his best friend would be over at his house. No, let's go to when he moved. So when B moved into that house, I brought my Tundra, right? I got a truck. So I bought my Tundra and I'm going to help him like move his stuff. And then his best friend at the time had, went and got the U-Haul. So they're planning, the guys are moving. I met him up there like super early in the morning. I drove out to LA super early in the morning. So his best friend said, because they need to go get all of the things out of the shared, what's the word I'm looking for, y'all? The, oh my God, like the storage, from the storage. So, his best friend, when I finally met him, he was like, hi, it's very nice to meet you. And he said something about the circumstances were weird, but he's really happy that Byron met me. But I didn't really know what that meant. I'm just like, okay. So I just thought maybe it was, because the story he told me that he was still.
Hold it. It means Paige couldn't deal with his crap, and I'm so glad that you're gonna have to deal with him instead of myself. I won't have to put up with him. I won't have to try to build this friend up. I've been loyal to him and helping him. I'm tired of helping him. Now you take care of all the business. I'm glad he has you. And I hope after you realize who he is, he has another woman that'll take care of him, because I don't want to take care of him. That is the translation that I have for you. And it does not take somebody that is highly intelligent to realize that the red flags were there.
Still with her living at her parents' house, but they were broken up, and like that whole situation is weird. That's what I thought he was referring to. So we end up all day moving into the apartment. And so fast forward, one day I was over there, and remember that episode on Oprah where Tom Cruise was jumping all like a crazy person all over the couch over, was it over his wife Kate at the time? Byron did that on his bed. 6'5", jumping all crazy on the bed, talking about, let's have a baby, let's have a baby, let's have a baby. And I was just like, it was really weird and childish. So yes, the best friend is out of the picture now. Completely out of the picture. And so now I was taking care of, my goddaughter was living with me. And I was taking care of her. And so he didn't like her. He did not. He didn't like her. She's a teenager, but like, God, how old was she at the time? I don't know, 12, 13. And he did not like her, and he definitely wanted her out of the picture. He would complain, saying that she was side-eyeing him, that she was rude, that he, if he was talking to her, that she wouldn't respond. And, you know, she's sassy, so some of the stuff that he said, I'm like, I could see, like, her doing that. But I should have known, because when I asked her, she made this face, like, I could tell when she's lying, and then you can tell when she's not lying. And she just made this face like, what? Almost like, when did I do that? She's like, I always talk to him. Anywho, he wanted her out of the picture because what do you think he was trying to do? He was trying to move in with me. And I told him, I'm not moving. Like, I've never lived with a man before. Byron was my first, like, serious relationship as an adult. I have never been with anybody this long. I haven't. I've always been kind of picky. Obviously not picky enough, but picky and like, you know, next.
Should have next at him. That's what you should have. You should have had that picky energy with him too. I don't know why you. Well, we know why, but anyway.
Like, this person just is looking for a good time, or this person is lying. Even though he was lying to me the whole time, I don't know why I felt like it had nothing to do with me, but everything to do with him. And like, he was trying to protect himself for something, because he was talking about his trauma. So then he gives you like this whole story about his traumatic life. And I'm not going to, I don't know how much I can speak on. He's a motivational speaker. Have y'all found his page on Instagram yet? Byron, have they found your page on Instagram yet? And how you're a motivational speaker to children? Have they found it? Y'all, please let me know in the comments. Please, please, please. Please, please, please. So anywho, yeah, he did not like her. He wanted her out of the picture because he wanted to move in with me. So he goes, I want to marry you. I know you're the one for me. You're the perfect woman for me, the perfect person. You make me feel safe.
Mind you, this guy has a wife. Now, whether they're separated legally, according to Paige Byron, he's married.
And I'm very protective, extremely. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. Like, I'm very protective, just how I am. So as soon as he said that, like, you make me feel safe, I'm like, oh my God, like, I have to make, like, again, it's manipulation. Automatically, I went into that protective mama bear mode. I defended him a lot. Yeah. So as soon as he said he wanted to marry me, I was like, well, then, I mean, you have to move in, because there's no way I'm going to marry you and not know who you are. And at this time, I'm still 35. Yeah, I'm still 35. So I was like, yes, okay, you're going to have to move in. You're just going to have to move in. So he was really like pushing like, oh, well, when is she going to move out? So I decided that I couldn't do it because her and I were having like, she was going through some things and it was a little too much for me to handle. So he was like really pushing like, oh, when is she gonna move out? And then he would say little things like, her family's just using you. They just want you for your money. Like, he would tell me all this crazy stuff. I'm like, no, I'm the one that said I wanted to take her and wanted her to move in with me. And, you know, but he would just be planting little things, and he'll keep saying it to where you just kind of give in, you know, like you're tired of hearing it constantly. So you just give in. So, yeah, so she ended up moving out. He moved in because he wants to marry me. I'm the one. Everything that I wanted. And I am the one for him. And he wants to marry me. So yes, we are going to be living together. So I can figure out, like, is this it? So I'm not that dumb. He still had his apartment.
So I'm like, well, okay, so if this doesn't work out, at least he still has his apartment. So I'm the one that figured out, like, okay, how do we get you to not have to pay for your apartment? We're going to put it on VRBO. So we really fixed it up. He took his little professional pictures and we put it on VRBO, and we made sure that thing was rented out every single month. Even if you didn't make any profit, I'm like, if you don't make any profit, whatever, as long as you're not paying the rent. And then I told him, because, you know, we're talking about finances, and I'm like, okay, how much debt do you have? He said he had only had 40,000. I'm like, okay, well, I got way more than that. So, because I don't know how to start. I mean, I've been in business for 10 years. For 10 years. This is my 10th year in business. And building business credit was like super confusing to me. And so a lot of my personal stuff is like tied into my business. So anyways, I got debt. So, but I would be able to pay off majority of my debt within 6 months. If he paid all the bills, I could pay off my debt in 6 months. So majority of it. So I was like, okay, well, you don't have to pay me rent for a year. Yeah, I know, guys. I'm so nice. I'm just so nice and caring. And like, I was like, in it, we're a team. He told us that we're a team. And I when I would say,
a team works together. You know it's bad when people tell you stuff and you start swindling the people that love you too in order for them to believe the version of the guy that you want them to believe, when deep down you know he's not that far from it.
I was like, no, not I, we. And then we had our own email address. We were the Hopkins. And he's saying I'm Mrs. Hopkins, even though we're not married yet and he didn't propose yet. So, and we also had this BCH legacy because both of our last names, same initial. And so B, Byron, Camille, H, legacy, okay? Like he really got our email addresses. And then he goes, we should have a shared account so that we can pay our bills through that. We can pay the bills through that if we have a shared account. And I'm like, how about I add you to one of my accounts? Because I wasn't that stupid. I was not about to add him to my main account. I added him to like a credit union that I had, that I literally only used to like put my like some savings in, or like when I wanted to go on like a trip, I would like put money away on the side. And so that's what we would use that account to pay the bills out of. Alrighty. I have to figure out the key points because it's gonna start getting a little deep. I'm kind of getting the flow here. I know my video started off kind of slow because I need to process and think about what I want to say. And I don't want to say the wrong thing, and I want to make sure I say all the right information. I actually have written out my entire story. But I just am picking and choosing what to say because it's long. If I have a conversation with someone about this, and I'm giving you guys way more details actually than I do in the conversations about him, it's like 3 hours. So this is probably like 5 hours long. So anywho, I'm going to get my little man ready so I can take him to school. And then I will video a little bit throughout the day, but I gotta make sure I get my doggies done. Obviously we're having like basic conversations before he even moved into my house. Let me backtrack a little bit. And I had asked him, well, okay, so when we found out about Paige and how he was engaged to her, my mom was doing her research. And so he wiped her off his social media, but okay, I know you guys are saying I'm long-winded. So, all right. Okay, so we have a joint account. We're going back to me. That was a little bit about that. We know that he was cheating on Van with Paige, cheated on Paige with me. So you guys got Paige's story. I know he was dating Paige for at least 6 months while he was still with Van. So when she found out that he was cheating on her, I think he had moved some stuff out while she was away at work. And he took like her alkaline water machine, her TV, like all these things that he had moved into like my place with, like some of the stuff that he had or some of the stuff at his apartment is a collection from just the women that he's been with. Like, he already makes his moves however many steps ahead, not too many steps ahead, but enough. And he makes sure that he takes what he wants. I wasn't playing that. Please. The thing is, what do people say? Just listen. Just listen and watch. And you know exactly how they're gonna, exactly what they're gonna do. I knew exactly what he was gonna do before I left him. So, we're not going there yet. Rewind. So I'm putting money into this account, our joint account. Do you think he's putting money into the joint account? No. What do you think he's doing? Spending it. Spending the money that I'm putting in there to pay his car note. I essentially was paying his car note. Not only did I help get the car, but I'm also paying the note because he kept getting calls because his payments were late. So I told him, I said, you're not putting any money in here. You're just spending it. So when he got his monthly check, he put $200 in there and told me, oh yeah, I deposited some money, but then he turned around and took it right back out. So
is this guy even paying child support for all these kids that he has? If the lack of accountability for having the kids wasn't a red flag, maybe it's just me.
I get a notification that $700 was taken from the account. And I was like, what in the world? And I was upset because it had been taken from the savings of our joint account. And so I was like, oh my God, this money got taken. Like, I don't even know why. Like, they said there was a lien on the account. And I'm just really, really upset because I'm trying so hard, to save and things like that. And at this time, we didn't have his daughter yet. We ended up getting custody of his daughter, but not yet. So, I was really upset. I get a letter in the mail, and it says that the lien was taken out because of Byron being on my account. And I'm like, it says it's because of you. What do you have where you would have a lien on it? He's like, oh, it's probably something for my dad, because my dad used my social security number and opened up a bunch of accounts. And I'm like, oh my God, why, how can he do that? How can he? He's like, well, because our names are similar. And I'm like, okay. So randomly one day, he goes, I think I owe you this, and gives me the $700 back. Where did he get the money from? I'm not sure. So I have to go to so I've been going to the fertility doctor. This is my fertility story now. So I've been going to the fertility doctor. I've had issues since I was 22. Didn't know if I would be able to have kids. Didn't know if I would ever be a mom. It was an underlying thing that I low-key was depressed about. And so the age range that I was at the time was literally my last chance to be a mother. So I just was like, oh my God, I met my person. This is perfect. This is perfect. I still have time. I also was going to do IVF. So before I met Byron, I was going to do IVF and freeze my eggs. But we all, if you understand IVF or know anything about it, it's still risky. My egg count was less than a 1. At 35, my egg count should have been an 11. And it was less than a 1. I only had 1 ovary left, dermoids. I had a lot of issues. So, I went to the fertility doctor, and he does my tests, and Byron's with me, and he said, if you're gonna do something, Camille, you're gonna have to do it now. You're gonna have to do it now. And my heart kind of dropped, because I know the risks with freezing your eggs. When you unfreeze them, you have the risk of those eggs not making it. And if I have less than a 1 egg count, how many good, viable eggs are they gonna get from me? And whatever I freeze, could possibly be, when they be unviable.
How freaking convenient for Byron, who was jumping on the bed and saying, we need to have a kid, we need to have a child, acting childish. This is the perfect recipe for him.
During the thawing out process, and then I no longer have an egg count, and now I don't have any eggs, right? It was scary. It was a scary thing, a scary realization that, I may not be able to be a mother. And so when he said that, I looked at Byron, and he goes, why don't we have a baby for free? And then he told me he had super sperm. And I'm like, really? Really? Yeah, you want to do it? And he was like, yeah. And so then before I made my decision, I'm like, it's you and me, right? We're going to do this. We're going to build this We're gonna be a power couple, because I've always wanted to be with someone I could be a power couple with. And so
Power couple? What are we in high school? I'm sorry, who? Power. Also, you're not married to him. You said you wanted to settle down. You said you wanted the marriage. You wanted all these things, but you ignored the red flags. You're delusional yourself. You're no... You know what? Let me not be that mean.
he was like, yeah, like, it's you and me. When I look back, when I asked him that question, his head was down and he hesitated. He looked hesitant. He did. But the thing is, he told me what I wanted to hear, and that's what I ran with. That's what I ran with. And so...
And not once has he actually shown you that he wants to be with you forever. And that's the thing. Words. That's all it is. Anybody can say anything. But if the actions don't match the words, doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
We proceeded to try to get pregnant for 4 months. And so my son is my miracle baby. I wouldn't have, I wanted to be married. He told me he wanted to marry me. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to have a baby first. Like, because to get married, like, we have to, like, get rings. I don't want to do courthouse. Like, I want to actually have, like, a wedding.
I mean, I get it if you don't want to do courthouse and everything. But if you're trying to have a baby, and I know some people are going to be like, oh, marriage is just a piece of paper. It's not. I would have... better you marry somebody else, but I'm just saying it would have just been better to go to court, get the marriage license, sign it, and have the baby. You know what? Maybe it would have just complicated things even more. Why are you even with... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The milk has been spilled.
And so we don't have time for that. Like, the baby's gonna have to come first. So that's what we did. And then I began my pregnancy journey. And we will talk about that. I hope this is fast enough for you guys. I hope this is fast enough. I don't like talking too fast because you won't be able to understand me. So, next one will be my pregnancy journey.
For the people who are saying, oh, you're long-winded and everything, I am cutting it a little bit. But just don't watch the story then.
Hey, y'all. I know. But things are happening and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm about to post this message. So this is from another post and it's on Facebook. Oh my God. It's just too much. It's too much. I can only imagine how many people are about to come out of the woodworks, and I really need to hurry up and finish posting the rest of my story because the ish is insane. I'm gonna finish taking my shower so I can record. Stay tuned.
What's truly insane is the amount of aliases that this guy went by. If you guys go to the comment section of these videos, there are so many women, whether they're lying or not, I really don't know unless they come out and have the evidence, the receipts, the tea. But there are so many women saying, I think I met this guy. I think this is another name. He has so many names, so many lies, so many women he's dated. And did PK talk about Atlanta? Because I remember saying something about Atlanta.
His daughter came to visit over the summer. This is my first time meeting her. And he told me that he couldn't tell her mom, and this is the woman that he's married to, that he has a girlfriend. And so that he's going to tell her that I'm his Aunt Camille. And so I was just like, okay. Because he was like, she won't send her if I tell her. So I was like, okay, no problem. So she came to visit for 2 weeks. And things were great. Like, we went to Disney, we went to like Legoland or SeaWorld. And of course I paid for everything. And I also had to buy her a new wardrobe because when her mom sends her, I think it's just a way to get him to buy her clothes because she sends her in stuff that's like too small. So I had to buy her a whole new wardrobe. And so she had fun. She was super sweet. And her and her dad just like played video games and stuff like that. So, and she went back home, everything was good. So, but during that time, he was also using my credit cards. And I asked him, I'm like, don't use my credit cards. Those are my cards. And he was like, well, I thought, we're a team and what's basically like what's mine is his. I was like, no, those are my cards. If you want, if you just use your own cards. So at this time, I did end up putting him on as an authorized user. I think I don't know if I did it before or after he was using my credit cards, but I put him on I did it after.
I put him on as an authorized user, and it boosted his credit score, so he was able to get approved for cards. So he started getting like lower limits, like $500 limits. And so, but I had locked my cards because even after I asked him not to use my cards, he was still using them. And
he kept using them because he knew you weren't really gonna do anything. Honestly, I mean, you say you set the boundaries, but then you let it slide, and he's gonna just take it up a notch and more until Lord knows what. Clearly you still have a home, which thank God for that, but my goodness, girl.
I just knew that I couldn't trust him, so I always kept my cards locked. I had like an extra wallet with cards that I don't use. He was going into that wallet and literally using all of my cards. And he would do small transactions. Some were like maybe a couple hundred. So yeah, even my Target card, he would use my Target card. And I loved Tabitha Brown. And he would, if he bought me anything, he would be using like my money to buy me things. So I essentially was buying stuff for myself. So one day my mom called me. This is like in the beginning of our relationship. And she goes, I have to shut down the Home Depot card for fraud because someone's been buying a bunch of gift cards on it. And I'm like, what? She's like, have you been buying gift cards? I'm like, no, I don't buy gift cards on Home Depot card. So she was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to the fraud department. So the lady at the fraud department said that whoever's using it, because this person had bought like $300 worth of like gift cards at one time. And so she said whoever's using it is using a military discount. So when my mom heard that,
it can only be one person. This man right here. Scammer. Gift cards? That's scammer behavior.
that she told the lady not to report it as fraud because she knew exactly who it was. So she ends up telling me, and I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense. So I asked him, and of course he denied it. But my mom, I mean, that's all she needed to know. So she was like, well, you can't use this card. Like, you have to close this card down. So he was buying like GameStop cards, and he was buying cards for like his PlayStation and stuff like that. Probably gift cards to go take other women out, you know, on dates and things like that. So I don't know. I'm like, you didn't have to pay rent for a year. You get like 15, 18. He even got his military pay increase for disability. Like, what are you doing with your money? Like, why are you using my money? It just, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I have no idea what he was doing with it. I don't know. So this is exhausting, you guys. I'm sorry. And I'm tired. Yeah, so he's using my money. And yeah, I know I can't trust him. He did the Home Depot card, and he would just use my Target card to buy stuff all the time. Always using the Target card to get things. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the next video. So before I tell my pregnancy story, the reason why the daughter's mom didn't want, well, when it sent her, if she found out that he had a new girlfriend, is because almost every 2 years he has like a new supply. So, and he introduces his daughter to these new women all the time. So she ends up getting attached because we all spoiled her. We spoiled her. We bought her new clothes. Took her to go get her nails done. You know, I've gotten her hair braided.
That child is gonna need therapy if it's just a revolving door of other women that her dad keeps being with. And as she's getting older, she's gonna know that Aunt Camille was not an aunt, and all the other ones were not aunts either. Then therapy's gonna be knocking at her door. I feel so bad for her.
Because she's biracial. Her mom is white. So, and I can't do little girls' hairs. I just can't. I was happy to have a boy. I wanted to be a boy mom so bad because I've never been good with doing hair. Not even my own hair. My hair was short, like super short for 11 years. Super cute. Everyone thought I either looked like Rihanna or Shawnee O'Neal. I would get that all the time. Before I went ahead and grew out my hair naturally curly, and then I did locks. But anywho, yeah, so that's why she didn't want her daughter being introduced to any more women because it's like abandonment almost, right? So she would just, her mom is the one that had to deal with that and help her through that loss. So that's why she didn't want her introduced to anybody new. But I didn't know that. I was just like, what do you mean? Like, I'm great. Like, she's in great hands. But that's why I found that out obviously later. So my pregnancy. So I really wanted to go to Hawaii for Christmas. At this time, there's a rift between my mom and I that Byron caused. And so her and I aren't like, we're kind of shaky. So I really didn't want to be home for the holidays because like no one really liked him. So I was like,
and that should have been another flag for you. That's usually how it is with people like him. They try to isolate you from everybody else so they have more control.
I really want to go to Hawaii so bad. Like, I really want to go to Hawaii for Christmas. So there's this site that I absolutely love called redweek.com. It's where people rent out like their timeshares. So I was able to find for 4 days in Kauai during Christmas. I think we got there like on the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. No, we got there on the 23rd and we left like on the 26th. And it was only $1,500. Yes, baby. No, there's not a monster. Do you want to put your towel on? Okay. Here. No. Let me get a towel. So I was able to go, we were able to go to Hawaii for my baby moon, for like $1,500. Lay down. And it was great. And he wanted to go ziplining. So I paid for him to go ziplining. Again, all on my dime. Like, he didn't help pay for anything. So we did 4 days in Kauai and we stayed at the Marriott. And then we did 3 days in Oahu. I don't really care for Oahu. I mean, I guess it's great if you really like to shop. I'm not really like a big shopper like that, but I at least wanted to do like the pineapple museum. I think it's called Dole Pineapple Museum. And then they have like Turtle Beach. And so I enjoy those parts of Oahu. And Byron has never been to Hawaii. So I love to travel. And when I met him, that was his thing. He said he loved to travel too. But then I find out that
he likes to travel on your dime.
He owed child support. And you know, if you owe more than $2,000 of child support, you cannot get a passport. If you already have a passport, you're fine until it expires. You can't renew it. But if you try to apply for a passport, if you owe more than $2,000, you cannot get a passport. So I love to go to the Caribbean. Like, I love to go to the Caribbean. I really wanted to go to Punta Cana. That was like my next destination trip and I couldn't go. So, you know, we went to Hawaii, which is great. Like, Hawaii's great. So, and he'd never been. So I was like, yeah, let's just go. And he enjoyed himself thoroughly. He really did. So,
I would enjoy myself too if I didn't have to pay a dime. Maybe I'd be zipline. Whee! Free? Oh, I'd be enjoying too. I'd be having the time of my life.
Yeah, I paid for him to go ziplining. And again, I paid for everything, literally everything. He did, is that trip? Yeah, he did buy me, cause, he bought me Christmas gifts. He got me like a duffel bag from Tote and Carry, which is Black owned. I like their stuff. And then he got me like this, necklace that said my son's name and then mom. So, that made me cry. I'm not a very emotional person, so it takes a lot to get me to like cry. Even this whole situation, I haven't really cried a lot about it. I only cried like here and there. Yes, baby, I'm putting a diaper on. So he loves to get like reactions from people. Loves it. So it really makes him feel.
That's funny you say that, because I don't know if you guys even remember how this video started. He was proposing to a woman at the Tyler, the Creator. So you saying that he loves the attention, pretty much loudness and everything, that is very accurate.
Feel good. So I broke down and was crying when I saw that necklace because it's like,
I really am going to be a mom, you know? So we do a really cute photo shoot at that particular hotel in Kauai before we went to Oahu. And he put the videos and stuff together. I will upload that on here. I think I can do that. So he put the video and all that stuff together, and we ended up on the like the day before we were supposed to leave. I had to have a talk with him because I had been asking him like to help out more financially. And so I was expressing how important it was for me to be able to have my time to stay home with the baby when the baby's born. That at this time I'm like 4 months pregnant. And so I'm like, okay, we have like, what, five more months before the baby is due. And so I really needed him to step up and like find a job because he wasn't making any money with his photography stuff. And anytime he like had something like a gig, he would tell me he had to do it for free. So I'm asking him to find a job. So anyways, so we end up having this conversation like the night before we're supposed to leave. And he gets so upset and he was like, you ruined the trip. He's like, why couldn't you just wait to tell me this when, you know, we got home? And so, because I was crying when I was telling him about how important it was for me to be able to stay home with my son. Like very, very, very important for me to be able to bond with him and stay home with him and have my time to just, you know, be with the baby. But I can't do that if he doesn't go get a job. And he didn't like the conversation at all.
He didn't get a job before he met you, so what makes you think he was gonna get a job now?
He didn't like the conversation at all. So we, yes, so I'm gonna post this. I'm gonna show you the video that he made of our baby announcement, and then I'll tell you what happened after that. Yes, after the baby announcement is when I started getting the messages. Okay, so I'm about to show you guys the little baby announcement video that Byron had made. So he had hid me on social media. He didn't post me at all on his, because his is public. All my stuff was private, Instagram, private, and Facebook. So when we were doing the baby announcement, I was like, no, I want to like post this. Like, this is my miracle baby. Like, I want the world to know that I'm pregnant. So you're going to need to post it on yours too. Because again, he's never posted me. I think he posted me on his Facebook because it was private, but on his Instagram, no. So I asked him like, oh, are you sure? Like, can Samantha see your post? And he was like, no, like, your page. He was like, no, like, I blocked her. I said, okay. I'm like, yeah, so we're going to need to post it. That's when the messages started. Very similar to what's happening to his girlfriend right now. I've known who she was since October. I just haven't reached out because, again, I know when someone reached out to me, it was Samantha that reached out to me. You know, that didn't go so well. And just my reaction, it was too much really to wrap my head around. And so I get it. Like, obviously, like, you just cannot believe that this person that you chose to spend your life with is like not who you think he is. you can't like fathom that. Even though, again, there's all these red flags, you just can't. So I don't blame her at all. Like, no one needs to be judgmental, and you don't know like what she's going through. I know what she's going through, and Paige knows what she's going through, and Samantha knows what she's going through, and Van knows what she's going through, and Britt knows what she's going through, because we've all been there. But
okay, so clarity. Brett is the wife. Van, I guess, is the other woman. And then Paige is the fiance, and then Millie is the fiance too.
We all woke up. Definitely, I wouldn't say, oh, she's gonna stay because she's gonna think that she's the last unicorn. Like, no. But you know what? Actually, I can relate to that because when my mom was telling me, like, wanting to show me Paige's videos and things, I told her, I said, Mom, I know he probably didn't break up with these girls the right way, but it's different with me. I did say that. I said, I have a better version of him. I forgot I told her that. That's exactly what I said. I said, I have a better version of him, Mom. I have a better version, even though he's a guy. Like, I'm sure he didn't break up with them the right way, but it's different with me, right? Because he told me he felt safe with me, that I was like his perfect person, the perfect woman for him. So yeah. Okay, guys, yes, the last unicorn. But that was in the beginning. And she's been with him, his girlfriend now has been with him for 2 years. So it's not the same scenario here at all. She's way past that cloud nine. I know she's stressed out. I know it. So anywho, here's the video that he put together for our baby announcement. And then we will talk about the messages. One thing I noticed is these videos upload faster at night. So I'm going to stay up with you guys for another hour. Enjoy.
She was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Glowing. Knowing what we know, I just want to cry. She looks so beautiful. And then you just see him pop in.
That was cute. It's been a minute since I've seen that. It's kind of rushed though, isn't it? But at the time, I loved it. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Hey, can I give somebody all of my pictures and videos and they can edit him out? Can someone do that for me? Because that's why my phone, right now I'm on my business phone. It's the only reason why this stuff is working right now. But I have so many photos. I mean, I have 2.5 years of stuff and I haven't even sorted through it. But I would like to go back and really look at all my baby stuff. But I just don't want to hear his voice. Ugh, I don't want to hear it. So if someone could I want to keep the originals because if my son ever asks, if he wants to know, I've written everything down, save everything. He has it. But for myself, I would like him edited out. I would. It sucks that literally the happiest moment of my life, and he's tied to that, But one thing I do appreciate is
your actions do have consequences. When you ignore the red flags and you sleep with somebody unprotectedly, that it has consequences.
I didn't have a hard time emotionally during my pregnancy. Was I stressed? Yes, I was stressed, but I was happy. I was happy pregnant. I can say that I was happy pregnant. So to rewind a little bit, when I had asked Byron if Samantha was going to be able to see his post on his social, we were supposed to get her for Christmas, and we didn't because clearly I was pregnant and we need to tell her. And I'm like, well, you need to tell her. And he was like, well, I don't want to tell her over the phone. I want to tell her in person. So I'm like, okay, well, and then I didn't know that the place that I had booked was a villa. I didn't know that. So I'm like, oh, dang, she could have came and she would have had her own, because I didn't want her to be in the same room with us. Sorry, I realized that I said something I wasn't supposed to, so I'm going to have to fix that. But
I'm going to continue this and then fix it. But, yes, so I didn't want to be in the same room with us, but I had booked a villa. But then the second part in Kauai, or not Kauai, but Oahu, she wouldn't have been comfortable. But, yeah, I didn't want to post the baby announcement, and then we didn't tell her, you know? I didn't want to do that she was going to be a big sister. So yes, all right, what's next? Yes, the messages. So I have the messages. I think I'm going to have to just read them off to you because I cannot share them because it's something that's on there that I don't want to show. So I will read it for the privacy of someone else. For privacy reasons. So I think it was a month after the baby announcement, and I'm driving because was I working, or he had to follow me or something, I don't remember. Anywho, so I was driving, and I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, Samantha. And so then I screenshot it, I think, and I sent it to Byron. I was like, is this your daughter's mom? And he was like, yes. Her message was so long. She just wanted to tell me like everything. She just wanted to get it all out. It was so long. I wish I would have read it maybe 5 times, but I only read it 1 time, and I only took away certain things from it. But I feel like if I would have reread it, I would have seen how she was like concerned. Alrighty, bear with me. I have to wear glasses all the time now because I have fluid in my eyes, so my retina is detaching. So also for those that I haven't responded to your messages, my friends are sending me the ones that just so I can see it, but I do plan on responding later. But my eyes get, after reading the screen for just like even a couple minutes, they're so blurry I can't even like see, so forgive me. But I am gonna read this off. She goes, hello, my name is Samantha, and I am Bleep's mother. First off, congratulations on the baby and welcome to the club. I did not like that she said that. That rubbed me the wrong way. The club? What club are you talking about? It's the first thing that had me like on defense.
The 6 kids. It's a club. It's a party. Actually, she should have said, welcome to the circus freak. Welcome to the circus show.
She goes, you are baby mama number 4, possibly 5. Baby mama? I'm not a baby mama. I was really offended, you guys. I really was. I'm like, that is not what I am. I am not a baby mama. And so she goes, he refuses to take a paternity test for the latest baby girl he had a year ago. And a year ago, he was with Paige. God, I haven't read this in a long time. This is all new. I didn't know that part. They had a year ago that popped up out here in Colorado. You can ask his mother about her. So what happened there is that his mom called Samantha and said that she would like Samantha's daughter to meet her little sister because she looks exactly like her. So I'm assuming that that mother is also white. And so the little girl is biracial and I guess is like spitting image of Samantha's daughter. So that's what she's talking about right there. He has Bleep with Britt, which is his first wife. When she said that, I'm just like, huh? I still can wrap my head around it. And then she goes, he then had Bleep with Bleep. I'm going to leave these 2 people out because I found them, but it's a whole nother story, but I'm going to leave them out of this. I will tell their story, but discreetly, which was his second wife. But it got annulled because he married Bleep while still being married to Britt. He has my daughter with me, and I'm still currently married to him. I've been asking for a divorce since we've been separated. Went through this engagement with Van, who he said was the one. My daughter got attached to her, and before I knew it, he was engaged to Paige, who she then got attached to, before he even fully left Van or moved out of their home. Ooh, I have not read this in years, so this is all fresh again. And I will share the rest in the next video. Okay, this is my last video of the night, and then I'm gonna knock out because it is, I think it's 2 o'clock in the morning. All right, yes, so she got attached to Paige before he even fully left Van or moved out of their home. So I got to know Paige Paige, another woman in my daughter's life. He then magically left her after cheating on her as well with you. Tread softly. I don't come as a bitter ex, which is how he usually explains me. I came as a warning. You're now baby mama number 4. He hardly pays child support. She said that, sorry, I gotta blow this up. There you go. Font needs to be bigger. He's months behind because he couldn't help me through COVID. He barely even speaks to my daughter. And this is just to my child. He doesn't speak to his oldest son at all. He doesn't know anything about his second daughter. And the second daughter is the one I told you guys that he had tattooed, and he told me that he ran up on them and she didn't look like him. And if you want to verify my claims, look them up. Here is, and then she gave me like Van's handle and Paige's so that I could reach out. She goes, I bet my life savings that he was with you while still with her. It's the typical move Byron makes. Paige can shed light on how he used her up and left her for you. Trust me, this isn't me coming to ruin your life. Do your research on Byron. Okay, she goes, Paige, he stole $18,000 from her parents. They even bought her engagement ring that he stole and never gave back. So if he proposes, be careful. It's probably the same ring.
I wonder if it's the same ring that he just proposed to at that Tyler, the Creator concert with that other woman.
Mind you, this is that was Christmas of 2021. So she hit me up, I think after the new year. So I got this message in like January or February, and my son was due in May. So if he proposes, be careful. It's probably the same ring. Trust me, I was 7 months pregnant and bought my own wedding ring. He proposed to me when I found out about him still being married to Britt. And it was then that I found out about all his other kids. He hardly speaks to my daughter. I can show you the proof. Case in point, he was supposed to come out to see her during Christmas. I get a call a day before to tell me that he can't because he's going to Hawaii for work. Now, mind you, I told him that he needed to let her know that we weren't going to take her for Christmas months, because I always plan my trips 6 months in advance. So I had planned that trip in like June, July. So he had all that time, and her birthday's in July also. So he had all that time to tell her. So here Samantha is saying that he didn't tell her until the day before. He's supposed to, I guess, get her. Yeah, so he's told her that he's going to Hawaii for work. Once again, I have the proof that that's not why he went, because obviously when he posted the video, here I am pregnant. I'm not going to fight for him to be in his daughter's life, and to be quite frank, I'm taking the steps needed to remove him completely or as much as possible. He's not good to her. Byron doesn't know how to be selfless father. He doesn't know how to be a selfless father, let alone a selfless man or partner. Please take my warning. The last time he spoke to her was Christmas Day, which is the day that we called her to tell her Merry Christmas. He never mentioned you when Dee was flying out. I found out about you from her plane ticket. He claimed you were his dad's significant other who may or may not pick her up from the airport. Once again, I have the proof of that. I have asked to speak to you since you were going to be in my child's life, and he acts like I'm speaking a foreign language and completely ignores my requests. Why would a father not want the mother of the only child he's involved with to not speak to his partner? Because he knows he's wrong. He's a narcissistic sociopath and leaves a long, long line of destruction. I've hit my limits with Byron. I can't continue this ish show of a game he calls his life. Be careful. You'll be tied to him forever now. He will use you. He won't work. Now, I was reading this while I was driving. Let me sit up. I was reading all this while I was driving. And so it was all a blur. But the part that stuck out to me that she said was he didn't like to work. Because I don't like no lazy man. Like, I can outwork people. I work very, very hard. So I shouldn't outwork you at all.
You say that, but you ended up with a man that does not work. A man that you outworked. So, what is it? What exactly is it?
So that's what really stuck out. Because I don't do lazy. Excuse me. He will use you. He won't work. He will gaslight you. He will love bomb you for the first year. And then he will slowly start to change, slowly start to be distant, and slowly pull away after he's used you up. Now, when she used this phrase love bomb, I didn't know what love bombing was. Even when she used the phrase narcissistic sociopath, I didn't know what that was either. And again, I only read this one time. So if I had read it like 5 times, then I would have been like,
girl, maybe it's just you. I would have been reading it over and over and over.
Let me look this stuff up. Because again, you guys, I told you I love to do my research. But I just wasn't in a place. Not 5 months pregnant, I wasn't. Okay, so he's going to use me up. He's going to pull away and use me up. That's what she's saying here. She said, trust me, he left me in financial ruins. I'm still paying off the repo. And the repo is the Honda that he drove from Colorado to California and was living, I don't know where he was living at, but not too long after, he was like living in a home with 6 boys or something like that he had to like drive around, and he was able to stay there for free. But then only a few months later, I believe, then he ended up moving in with Van. So I don't know. That story, I mean, majority of what comes out of his mouth is a lie. I'm still paying off the repo he got us. Asked Van about her debt that she was left with him. I can tell you that story. So, okay, I'm looking at the time here. So with Van, she said by the time he was done with her, right, because he had already been courting Paige for 6 months, that she had like $20 to her name. She said it was so bad. She had to pay to get out of the lease of the apartment. And she also ended up selling, because she had a Benz and she had a Lexus. And he wanted to drive her Benz, which was a newer car, but she had him drive her older car, which was Lexus. So she ended up selling one of her cars because she needed the money. Why would he be so content with getting you pregnant so early into a relationship? Think about it. I was pregnant 4 months after we met. Ask Bleep. They took a very short amount of time before Bleep came. He tried to get Van pregnant and Paige. He will cheat and not use protection. Trust me, all I have been through, all Van has been through, and all Paige has been through. And that's just to name a few. Byron is toxic. He uses my daughter as a pawn. And then I'm going to read the rest of the next.
That was truly a lot. And if you guys want me to do a part 2, there are plenty of other videos that are coming out as I am speaking. But I'm going to cut it right here. But this is a full circle moment from her telling us how it started, the red flags, all the way to her getting a text message. This is a warning. And the warning came at a time where it was already too late. She was already pregnant, already stuck with Byron pretty much forever. For as long as you have a child with somebody, you're going to be with them forever. Now, I just want us to take us back to the beginning. Put yourself in that woman's shoes, the one that Byron is proposed to at the concert. You see all of this. and you hear other women, what do you think she does? What do you think she will do? Do you think she'll break up with Byron? Or is she so love bombed that she's gonna think everybody's delusional? I don't know. I really don't know the answers. Maybe you guys have seen the end of this and are like, this is what happened, but this is a cautionary tale. If you see the red flags, make sure you leave. I've said it time and time again. I don't even think I need to say it. Byron is a bum. Byron ain't crap. Byron is a walking, I don't even know if he's a red flag. He's a neon red flag, honestly. So when you come across a man like that, he won't be responsible. So it is up to you to be responsible. It is up to you to have standards. It is up to you to have boundaries. If you're saying you want to settle with a guy and you have, diary where you put the characteristics of the type of guy that you want or whatever the case is, for as long as he's marking majority of your flags, then fine. But if he is not marking not one thing that you wrote down, and all you are is infatuated by his height, his muscular body, as well as the eggplant, because let's keep it real, the height 6'5" or 6 up. We all know women, they love men that are taller, they love men that are muscular, they love men who, the eggplant. So I just think all of these women were hypnotized, as well as just delusional, as well as just very naive, I guess. Accountability needs to be taken and warnings need to be out there. This is why I say social media can be a good thing and it can also be a bad thing. This is the good. Saving this woman who just got proposed to by this Byron. I hope she backs up and leaves him. And I hope she stays safe, because if all this is happening, Lord knows what he may be doing to her right now. These are real people with real stories. Let me know what you guys think of this entire thing in the comment section below, and I will see you guys next time.